Ladies and gentlemen, to present our final award of the evening, please join me in welcoming His Worship, Mayor Frank Scarpitti.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here celebrating with all of you. And I know that all of us look forward to this event, and it is wonderful to be back in person celebrating success in our business community. I don't know about you, but I'm happy about that. I want to just take a moment to recognize, I know some of my colleagues, some of them were here, some of them were not here. We had the regional inaugural council meeting today, so I know all of us were scrambling to try and get here, so I'll reintroduce some. If they could just stand, but we have Regional Councillor Jim Jones, Councillor Issa Lee from Ward 8, and Councillor Amanda Colucci from Ward 6. I always wait for a councillor to yell, and what about me? And it's like, okay, but no one yelled. I also want to recognize our senior staff, because I'll tell you, as much as I'm very proud of our council and the great accomplishments that they have, I think we have the best staff in all of Ontario at the City of Markham. They are outstanding, and I want to start by acknowledging Andy Taylor, our Chief Administrative Officer, who's here. Welcome, Andy. And also Trinella Kane, our Commissioner of Corporate Services, who's here. And want to also acknowledge Eric Laviviere, who is doing double duty in some respects. He's the manager of the Flato Markham Theatre, and he's also been the lead from the City of Markham with our new tourism board called Destination Markham. So Eric, thank you for all the great work that you continue to do. And I want to take a moment, as we are here in person once again, and by the way, welcome to all the other city staff that are here. It's tough to introduce everyone with the time that's been allotted, but thank you to all of them for the great work that they do. And I also want to say congratulations to the new executive here at the Markham Board of Trade. First and foremost, the president and CEO, Chris Colucci. Congratulations, Chris, and welcome aboard, and wish you well in your new role. And also to Jack Unger, the chair of the board. Jack, congratulations to you as well. And I know that there's been other new board members and other members who've joined the Markham Board of Trade. Just to let you know, in case you didn't know, you have joined the voice of business here in the City of Markham with the Markham Board of Trade. And I couldn't think of a better voice for business here in our community. And I want to say congratulations to all those that were nominated for the different awards here tonight. The fact that you're in this room sets you apart from others that might be elsewhere tonight. And so to all of our nominees, to all of our finalists, I thank you on behalf of council for what you do, because what you do is create new businesses, grow existing businesses, export, and really truly put Markham on the map. And for all of the high-tech companies that we have, for all the head offices that we have here in the City of Markham, it is still small and medium business that provides the greatest employment in our community. So thank you and congratulations to all of our finalists. And now it's an honor for me to present the 2022 Anthony Roman Award. Anthony Roman was an incredible mayor and known really as the father of modern Markham. And the recipient tonight is someone whose contribution were woven into our community over the course of 65 years. After graduating from Osgoode Hall in 1957, he launched his solo law practice in the village of Markham. And a year later, he joined a firm that would evolve to Katnack, Heinzen, Sutton, and Van Veldhuizen. Donald C. Heinzen used his keen mind and generous nature to great effect, approaching every volunteer role with an intent to benefit as many people as possible. As a board member, he served many organizations. His accomplishments and his ties to Markham were numerous and broad in scope. And so here are just a few of his highlights. For some 35 years ago, when the Markham Board of Trade was formed, Don Heinsohn helped give the board legal advice, and once the Board of Trade was formed, he sat on the board of directors. He helped establish and incorporate the Markham Museum. He was the president of the Markham Lions Club and remained a member of that club for 25 years. And this allowed him to work on projects such as the Markham Arena and Library at Highway 48 and Highway 7, the Markham Family Life Center that looked after so many needs in our community, and also helped start the Markham Hospice organization. He joined the Unionville Home Society when Union Villa was first being built, and he advised Wyndham Gardens, a senior's home, on a lease for life, which was a new concept at the time. It's well known now, but it was truly groundbreaking at the time. Don helped form the Varley Art Gallery and was involved in the financing, construction, and finding curators. Criminal law was Don's focus for the first 10 years of his practice, and he joined other lawyers that helped Newmarket's resident magistrate, Hollenrake, establish the York North Law Association, a fledgling law system, a legal aid system that offered accused free advice and representation. Don strongly believed that everyone was entitled to fair representation. He also joined the Toronto legal system and then the York Region Legal and Provincial Plan. He was instrumental in creating the York Region Law Association, obtaining provincial grants to set up a law library. Again, it was very new at the time, back when that happened, and also a courthouse. And today, the association sponsors education programs for the local bar. As a member of the local, provincial, and federal, it says PC, but I'm going to spell it out for you, Progressive Conservative Association, Don served on the election advisory committee for Tony Roman when he ran as an independent, and it's difficult to get elected as an independent in this country, and then he also worked on many other election campaigns. When he shifted to municipal law, he switched over to zoning applications and Ontario municipal hearings. He helped many Markham churches to extend their outreach programs and helped build many seniors' homes. And when he switched to municipal law, we on council were his audience for some very thorough presentations, and I mean thorough presentations. In the 70s, Don, along with Toronto Maple Leaf, Harry Whipper Watson, Glenn Kennedy, and James Saveston, formally incorporated the Markham Junior B hockey team, the infamous Markham Waxers. And on a personal note, when there was the odd occasion, as chair of planning at the time for me, that Don and I may have had a slight disagreement on an issue, I can tell you that I always respected and admired his tenacity at council meetings that really befitted his profession, and that he could defend and support his position so eloquently. After retiring, Don has had an opportunity to enjoy Florida more, but I can tell you that his legacy lives on in the municipal infrastructure, certainly our community service organizations, and the many lives that he personally counseled. He's mentored, inspired, and perhaps saved lives. And tonight, I view the Anthony Roman Award as a Lifetime Achievement Award. And very few in our community has achieved as much in their 90 years on this planet. And I can tell you that fewer still can expertly unite leadership excellence with a sense of duty and a spirit of benevolence. Don, at the very heart of it all, is a humanitarian, someone who's inspired generation of entrepreneurs, community leaders, and yes, even lawyers. As many of you know, Tony Roman was a mentor for me, and I can tell you that Don Heinsohn has been an inspiration for me. He truly inspired me because of his dedication to the community, excellence to his profession, and his all-round decency. Everything he does with a purpose, and he is an absolute gem, and Markham was very lucky to have him. So I'm honored and delighted to present the 2022 Anthony Roman Award to a distinguished lawyer and a true gentleman, Mr. Donald C. Heinsohn. And I would ask his colleague and friend, John Carruthers, to come up and formally, physically accept the award and then pass on the baton to Don's message. Welcome, John.
Members of the organizing committee, and guests assembled this evening. Please accept my apologies for not being present in person to accept what I consider this very prestigious award. After learning of the nomination, I found I could obtain a return flight to Canada, but return flights to Florida were at best uncertain or conditional, hence this video acceptance. Please do not interpret my absence in any way as diminishing my appreciation of the honor attached to the receipt of the Anthony Roman Award. There are many individuals and organizations I'm indebted to for this award, the first being the Markham Board of Trade. Michael Larkin sought my assistance, along with many others, in the formation of the Markham Board some 35 years ago, and I was privileged to sit as our firm's representative on that board in its initial years. My late partner, J. Laughlin Catanack QC, was a former recipient of this award, and our firm, some years later, the recipient of one of the board's Community Participation Awards. On that occasion, I had the honor of thanking your Mr. Glenn Crosby and the board. As such, I attach considerable importance to the Anthony Roman Award and the late MP and longtime Mayor, Mr. Anthony Roman, in memory of whom the award was created. While I am humbled, I am very grateful to be the recipient of this award at this time, and I thank you all. My congratulations and those of our firm are extended to the board for their success in attracting the many large, medium, and startup industries to the Markham community, inspiring them through these awards in both innovation and excellence, traits which spill over into the community, benefiting its citizens as a whole. The board's success in these achievements, I suggest, is due in no small measure to a vision of a succession of reeves, mayors, and their respective councils developed over the years for the village, later the town, and currently the city of Markham. Moving to Markham in 1957, where my wife, the late Mary Christine Robb Heinsohn, was born and raised, I first appeared before the then reeve and later mayor, the late Elma Walker, who in kindness introduced me to many members of the community and encouraged my participation in community activities. Mayor Walker was succeeded by the late MP and Mayor Anthony Roman, who together with his wife Elsie became good friends. Mayor Carol Bell followed. The late MPP and Mayor Donald Cousins and his wife Aileen were both neighbors and good friends. And finally, our current mayor, the Honorable Frank Scarpitti. All of these mayors welcomed me to their chambers and very patiently, some of them may say, often very, very patiently, plead whatever cause my clients had on any given week. There was never a problem when the issue advanced council's vision for Markham only when that vision or its implementation did not coincide with that of council. Mr. Mayor, at this time, I wish to assure you and your council and their predecessors that on the few occasions when you or your council found my or my client's vision of the implementation of the same did not follow you or council's vision and ruled against us. In old age and retirement, I bear neither you or your council or their predecessors any ill will or resentment. In retrospect, I rather admire and appreciate their patient resilience. The mayors and their respective councils, again in my humble opinion, selected their staff wisely. I dealt mostly with the planning department and believe Markham was well served by a succession of planning commissioners, several of whom became chief administrative officer of the city of Markham. The late Joseph Pickard, the late Thomas Janaszewski, the late Ronald Bowles, and also Mr. Lorne McCool, Mr. John Levy, and most recently, Mr. Jim Baird. Markham's current chief administrative officer, Andy Taylor, is remembered for his very pleasant manner in negotiating and problem solving in days past when we worked on issues surrounding the Varley Art Gallery. I remember all of these gentlemen with admiration as they planned the infrastructure for roads, sewers, water, and their capacity, the location of schools, churches, and recreation facilities, together with the location of industrial and commercial sites, all with a broad selection of residential housing options. The zeal and skill with which they defended these policies at public meetings, council meetings, and the Ontario Municipal Board is to be commended. The efforts of these gentlemen and their staff of planners has played a significant part in Markham becoming such an attractive community for business, industry, and citizens of all race and creed to work, recreate, and educate their children. Finally, I thank Mayor Scarpitti for his thoughtfulness and kindness in nominating me for this award. No individual among those previously mentioned has worked longer or harder or spent more energy in advancing the betterment of Markham and its citizens. Federal and provincial politics aside, Mr. Mayor, you and I have had few differences over your years of strong leadership. Your support over these years is appreciated, and thus your nomination much more meaningful to me. In consideration of that kindness, I've attempted to adhere to the time allotted to me for this acceptance, something I freely admit I did not always do when appearing before you in council chambers. Not as an afterthought, my partners and associates, the late John A. and Lachlan Kapanek, Mr. Lawrence Sutton, Albert Van Veldhuizen, John Carruthers, and Terrence Perspersky, our staff, are deserving of thanks for the time they allowed me to participate in these community activities. I dedicate this award to my late wife, Mary Christine Heinzen, my late son, Rob Heinzen, my daughter, Donna Heinzen Opsumer, in gratitude for their acceptance of many missed meals and late evenings, not only without complaint, but with encouragement for whatever project I was involved in at the time. My congratulations go to the recipients of other award winners this evening. Thank you one and all again. I know you will enjoy the evening, and I am only sorry I cannot be there to enjoy it with you. Thank you.